And we have late breaking news first here on the WHAS11 team tonight. A man has very serious injuries after a shooting that happened in Louisville's Russell neighborhood of the West End. Police responded to South 18th Street just off West Muhammad Ali Boulevard after 8 o'clock tonight. Officers found a man shot in the chest. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the night team tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. Also new tonight, a man watching television is shot and killed. His family says by stray bullets that came right through the front door. We covered it on the night team as breaking news Wednesday night in the California neighborhood. Now his family is sitting down with WHAS11 team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie talking about what they saw.
Get ready to eat. As soon as I set the pizza down, I heard bam, bam.
You can see the damage from 2 bullets is clearly in the front door. Family members here on Grand Avenue say they were 2 stray bullets that hit and killed 52-year-old Robert William Crossan. He was at home watching old Michael Jordan basketball highlights on TV with his uncle, Dwayne DeBerry. DeBerry immediately ran to the front room after hearing the shots.
He was already gone. Wasn't nothing I could do. I could look at him and tell he was dead.
DeBerry believes the shooting was not targeted and the bullets randomly came through the home and killed his nephew. He says police told him the shots were fired from a very far distance.
They said to the shots that came from down that way, because they came over that same night and they was looking around. There wasn't no shell casings or nothing on her.
He says he and Crossan had a bond like no other. They grew up with each other and always laughed and made jokes.
He was like my little brother. Because he wasn't number like 10 years younger than me, you know. I just feel like, that's, my brother's gone.
DeBerry says Wednesday night's tragedy still doesn't make sense. He doesn't know who fired the bullets, but he's holding his nephew's memories tight.
Well, we used to have some heck of a debates, man, talking about sports and stuff. We be debating, being almost arguing.
He and other family members are looking for justice in this case.
So he just was in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and I guess the Lord was ready for him to come home.
As they look to lay him to rest soon. In Louisville, Taylor Woods, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
And this year alone in Louisville, 208 people have been shot in 183 shooting incidents, both fatal and non-fatal. While those numbers remain high from a decade ago, cases of extreme violence are going down in the city at the moment. In May of 2021, there were 314 shootings with 354 victims. Again, that's 2021. Since then, the number of shootings has dropped steadily year after year. In total, shootings have gone down nearly 42% since 2021. Young people, though, do make up the bulk of the victims over the last 4 years. During that time frame, more than 56% of the victims fall between the ages of 18 and 34 years old. As always, if you have any information that can help police detectives solve these open cases, you're encouraged to call the anonymous tip line. It's 574-LMPD. You can also utilize the online portal. Happening late today, the former Okolona Public Library branch has sustained extensive damage after a fire broke out there early this evening. Again, the branch is now vacant. Crews responded just after 5 to the empty building on Preston Highway near Lone Oak Avenue. This was not far from the outer loop. Firefighters say it took them about an hour to gain control of the blaze. Right now, officials are investigating the cause, but they say this is not the first time they've been to this building.
A lot of times it's the winter, they're trying to stay warm so they have a fire. Without going in there and figuring out what was going on, again, we don't have a clue why a fire would start on a day like today. Because again, cold weather, they're going to be trying to stay warm and something gets out of control. During hot weather, I have no idea without going in and seeing what's going on.
Firefighters say the old Okolona Library branch has been abandoned for more than 2 years. According to Louisville Metro Government's website, the property was under contract back in June of 2021. Right now, News Sin 6, we have reaction tonight from Kentucky lawmakers to the historic conviction of former President Donald Trump. The jury in New York, as you know, finding Donald Trump guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business documents. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have reacted to the verdict tonight. Kentucky Senators Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell both denouncing the verdict in posts on social media, saying the verdict erodes the public trust in the judicial system. McConnell even saying he expects the conviction to be overturned on appeal. In Louisville today, 3rd District Congressman Morgan McGarvey, the Democrat, told us the verdict proves no one is above the law.
The jury has spoken. The jury heard all of the evidence. They're the ones who found him guilty. I do think that being the President of the United States is an important enough job that you shouldn't have been convicted of a felony. And so I don't think we should have someone who is running for president having been convicted of a felony. And that felony, of course, was something he was doing to get elected President of the United States. I think that's a big distinction as well.
Donald Trump, despite the conviction, still says he's innocent and that the trial was rigged. Well, speaking to reporters at Trump Tower today in New York, the former president vowed to appeal. President Joe Biden also weighed in, giving pointed comments today about Trump's comments, which claimed the trial was rigged. ABC's Melissa Dan has the latest from New York.
A day after his political rival was convicted of 34 felony counts, President Biden speaking out for the first time.
It's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict.
At Trump Tower, the former president defiant.
It was a rigged trial.
But the unanimous jury verdict finding Trump did commit crimes, convicting him of all counts of falsifying business records to conceal a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to keep her story from voters before the 2016 election. Trump denies they ever had a sexual encounter and denies committing any crime. And Trump even calling out the judge in the case who will determine his sentence.
But he's really a devil.
And raising new questions whether he violated the gag order still in place by bringing up his former attorney and fixer Michael Cohen.
But you know, he's a sleazebag.
For Cohen, the prosecution's star witness, closure.
So this has been a long time coming for accountability.
Trump's campaign quickly raising $53 million off the verdict.
We're angry, but we're also happy in a way. Because you know what? My president's got street credit now.
Trump plans to appeal the conviction. He will be sentenced in July, just 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Melissa Don, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In Kentucky tonight, all new, the Scotty Scheffler case. JCPS and TARC bus drivers to the future of Mitch McConnell's Senate seat. It was all covered tonight on KET's Comment on Kentucky. And our Isaiah Kim Martinez joined the panel of journalists tonight at 8 o'clock. Comment on Kentucky anchor WKYT's Bill Bryant asked Isaiah about the rise of the liberty movement within the Kentucky GOP, being pro-constitution and anti-government. The political rhetoric is also now becoming less personal and more ideological.
It's very interesting how some of these very hard on crime bills, maybe in this past legislative session, didn't get all the yes votes from some of these liberty Republicans, because again, violates constitutional rights. All of a sudden, you start to see the breakup a little bit in support for some of these.
Next on KET.
Comment on Kentucky is KET's oldest public affairs program. WHAS11 News political reporters have been contributing to it since the mid-1970s. It airs through the weekend and again on Sunday at noon on KET. Hundreds of people at Louisville's largest public housing complex are preparing to be relocated now amid poor living conditions. And now we're learning when they'll be moved and where they're going to go. The new Metro Housing Director for Louisville, Elizabeth Strojan, appeared at the Bishop's Table today, held by Bishop Dennis Lyons every Friday morning at Gospel Missionary Church. Strojan today repeated a promise to the residents of Dosker Manor.
So what are we doing about that? We're getting people in Dosker Manor into better housing as quickly as we possibly can, and we will rebuild Dosker Manor into something that we can all be proud of.
The Housing Authority says in mid-June they'll start sending out relocation surveys to residents in Dosker Manor's A building, said to be in the worst shape. In those surveys, people will rank their options, either move to another public housing site, a property owned by a housing authority partner, or opt to receive a Section 8 voucher. The Housing Authority is assuring Dosker Manor residents their choice will be given priority and the costs of moving will be covered. By the way, the Bishop's Table was created in the tense moments of the 2020 protests to bring people together with conversation.